time short people. And all you story lovers at sea. I don't know what that means. Probably because of I probably said that because of the book we're reading today. It is called The Snail and the Whale. Wah, wah, wah. So let's get on with it, okay? I'm sorry. I had a bite of something just before I came down to the studio, and I still got lots of crumbs in my mouth. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to be spitting little crumbs while I'm talking at my son. Will he enjoy that? No way. But we're still going to read. Josiah, are you ready? I am ready. Wah, wah, wah. The Snail and the Whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big gray-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. If you're a snail and you have an itchy foot, that must drive you crazy. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as he gazed, he sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. And Mr. Taylor's mouth isn't working. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. How I long to sail. There are other snails in the flock. Oh my gosh, a flock of snails. Do they have a shepherd?
It's a great band.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm just going to keep going. Oh, jeez. There are other snails in the flock who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet. Don't wiggle. Sit still. Stay put." But the tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed, then cried, "I've got it! I'll hitch a ride!" This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Ride wanted round the world." See, right there. Ride wanted round the world. And here's the flock of snails. Do snails make noise? Oh man, make me stop. Now see, no, I won't go any farther than that. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale, immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail,
"Come sail with me. Leave that flock. They don't know what they're doing."
This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. With fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed. The tiny snail on the whale of the tail. Okay, let's read that again. Oh my gosh. These are the waves that arched and crashed. Mr. Taylor, you shouldn't eat stuff before you read.
I'm sorry.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
These are the waves that arched and crashed and foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny whale on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the day, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzagging lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sea, the land. She gazed at the sky, the sea, and the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way.
These are the speedboats running a race, zigzagging, zooming all over the place. Excuse me. Upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. Oh no. And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. Quick, off the sand! Back to sea, cried the snail.
I can't move on land. I'm too big,
Moaned the whale. And the snail felt helpless and terribly small. I've got it, she cried and started to crawl.
Oh,
I must not fail, said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board, as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail. The teacher turned pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying and keeping the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and all of the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" as the whale and the snail traveled safely away. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves, and shooting stars on enormous waves, and how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery tail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail. Yeah, I'm going too. This sounds fun to me. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the gray blue humpback whale.
The end.
Okay, now, if a friend of the author, Miss Julia Donaldson, or if Miss Donaldson should come across this video, I meant no disrespect. It just struck me as very funny. I understand the whole idea of needing to make a rhyme. Again, no disrespect. It was actually a really fun book to read. So, if you're upset, I'm sorry. But, weird things strike me funny. Thank you, all you short people out there, for listening to me read the book. And that's all for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.